So I am a bit of a seasonal politics junkie, you might say. Whenever there's a big federal election going on in Canada or the States, I get really into politics for that amount of time that the election's going on. But the rest of the time, not so much. But there have been some things going on lately that have brought my mind back to politics, even though we're not in the middle of a big election. First, we have a Manitoba provincial election coming up. But second, and more important, is the death of Jack Layton, which happened just a few days ago, and I was very upset by. It turned out that Jack Layton had written a letter that he wanted to be released upon his death. And I'm not going to read the letter here, I'll put a link to it in the description. But in the letter, he said a lot of things, and one of the points he made was that he didn't want people to give up hope. He wanted people to keep trying. He wanted people to do the things that mattered to them and keep trying for change, and that it is possible. And so that inspired me to talk about something that is an issue I've been passionate about for a long time and have been wanting to talk about for a long time. So here in Canada, we have a voting system that allows us to elect our own governments. This is a good thing. You know, it lets us choose who we want to be governing us. It's, you know, of the people, by the people, for the people, all that. Is that just an American thing? I don't know. But, you know, that's the general idea. It's, we choose who is going to be leading us here in Canada. But it doesn't actually work out to be the fair voting system that one might hope it would be. You would want every vote to have equal value so that Parliament can reflect the will of the people. But that's not so much what's happening in Canada, because we have a first-past-the-post polling system! Brief overview of Canadian federal politics. So Canada is divided into ridings, and there are 308 ridings, and each riding has one Member of Parliament, or MP, to represent that riding, and the Member of Parliaments together make up Parliament, and they govern the country. So the political party that has the most MPs is the one that gets to form the government. They get to be the ruling party. So right now, the party with the most MPs is the Conservative Party of Canada. So in an election, voters don't vote for who they want to be Prime Minister or for which party they want to lead the country. They vote for the candidate to be the MP for their riding. The problem with this is that only one MP can be elected per riding. So this really divides the people who live in a riding into two groups. Those who are represented by their MP and those who aren't. And everyone who voted for that MP is represented. But anyone who votes for anyone besides the MP who wins is not represented at all. It's like they just didn't vote. The only voters that get to send their MP to Parliament are the ones that support the most popular party or MP in their riding. Nobody else. Nobody except the people who support the most popular candidate. So really, the only people that are represented are the people with the most popular political beliefs in their area. If you live in a super liberal riding, and you aren't a liberal, then you're not going to be represented. And if you live in the super conservative riding and you're not a conservative, you're not going to be represented because your candidate's not going to win. This is a major cause of people not voting. You know, you hear a lot of people saying, why should I bother voting? My vote doesn't matter at all. And they're right. Their vote probably will count for nothing. Some people still vote, but they vote against a party that they're afraid of instead of for a party that they like. I have done this. I've voted for a party that I'm not particularly fond of because I was horribly afraid of another party getting in, which they did anyway, but here's some statistics! In the 2008 federal election, 940,000 voters cast their vote for the Green Party of Canada, and they elected not one single MP. Zero, not one. By comparison, 813,000 Conservative voters in Alberta alone elected 27 MPs. If 813,000 Conservative voters can elect 27 MPs and 940,000 Green voters can elect 0 MPs, I think maybe there's something wrong here. Now, to be fair, I'm not a big fan of the Conservative Party, I'll just put that out there, but it's not just the Conservative Party that's gaining from this. I'm talking about the situation in Quebec between the Bloc Québécois and the NDP. In 2008, the NDP received 1.1 million votes more than the Bloc Québécois, yet the Bloc Québécois ended up with 49 seats, while the NDP had only 37. Now, obviously, this situation reversed itself in the more recent election, with the NDP gaining incredible support in Quebec, but the problem still stands. This year, the Bloc Québécois received almost 900,000 votes. In a proportional system, that would have resulted in 19 seats. With our first-past-the-post system, they got 4 seats. 4. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Bloc Canada needs now is significant electoral reform. In a system of proportional representation, the core principle is treating every voter equally and making every vote count. And when this happens, every party gets the seats they deserve. If a party received 30% of the votes, they'd get 30% of the seats, which is completely different than the system we have now. Proportional representation systems can work in many ways, and a lot of countries have been creative in the ways they've made them work. But a common way of doing it is that each district or riding elects more than one representative. For instance, in a riding in Ireland, they typically have 3 to 5 representatives, while in Belgium, district sizes range from 5 to 48 representatives. And in the Netherlands, the entire nation is one large district with 150 MPs. Another common way of using proportional representation is the use of party lists. This is when each party publishes a list of candidates, and then based on the percentage of votes that the party receives, a certain percentage of the candidates from their list get parliamentary seats. In some countries, the list is actually printed on the ballot, so voters not only choose which party they want, but which individual candidates they want from the list. There are also hybrid systems, which are a mix between winner-takes-all and proportional systems. In Germany, every voter casts 2 votes. One vote's for an MP, and it works very similarly to our system in Canada. The other vote is for a party, and it's used as part of a percentage that determines how many of the seats are filled by the party's list candidates. So what's the solution for Canada? You know, I think Canadians deserve a fair voting system that represents the will of the people. You know, maybe it's just me, but, you know, that's what I think. I think to have a fair representative government, we need to switch to a proportional representation system. So, yeah, electoral reform. Let's get on that, Canada. Go, you, now. Reform the electoralness. Go.